Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks, and you're checking out a support video for our newest sound set, CODA. So in this video, I wanted to show you how you can make custom patches using the supplied wavetables. Now, the wavetables are actually all saved into the actual presets in CODA. We just included the wavetables so you can make your own custom patches. So I was going to show you how to do that because there's some cool tips and tricks that you're going to want to follow to get the most from those wavetables. So let's dive right in. All right, so the first thing you are going to want to do is you're going to want to load up a wavetable. So we're going to make like a mix between two different types of sounds here. Let's do like a brass first. Let's do trumpet dope here. And then an oscillator B, let's load up a string sound. So let's go down to strings and let's do cello. Let's see, what do I want to do? A cello. Let's just do cello piz. So it's going to be a short, choppy cello here. So we have two short wavetables, right? And what we're going to do is we have to modulate through the wavetables to get them to sound like their actual instrumental counterparts. So right now, if I just play something, I have a really quiet sound. If I move through the wavetable position a little bit, it just sounds like a typical waveform, right? So let's mute oscillator B and let's go to LFO1 and we're going to create this ramp up shape. I'm going to uncheck BPM because it's easier to work with a hertz value. We have more freedom and we want this to be an envelope. So basically we're creating an envelope that controls the wavetable position of our oscillator. So right now it's still not going to really sound like a trumpet and it's certainly not dope, but let's turn this down. Isn't that crazy? It now sounds like a trumpet. So let's do the same thing with oscillator B, but I like using a separate LFO for either oscillator A or oscillator B. It gives you more control. So let's go to oscillator or LFO2. We're going to create this ramp up shape, and we're going to do the same thing that we did in oscillator A and LFO1. We're going to take this and change it to an envelope and uncheck BPM. I mean, that's actually kind of cool right there. But let's slow it down a little. All right, so that sounds about right. Now let's bring in oscillator A again. All right, so this is where it gets really, really fun. Applying filters, applying unison, applying things like the warp modes, the effects. So let's just go ham. So I'm going to go to my effects real quick, and we're going to add a little bit of dimension expander. Add a little bit of distortion and delay. And let's pop on some reverb to soften it up. All right, so it sounds like basically like some type of brass patch, right? Well, that's pretty cool, but let's go to oscillator B and let's apply some FM from A. And let's go to our filter and let's load up one of the crazy filter types, something that you'd never get with a sample library. Let's try a reverb filter and see what that sounds like on our pizzicato cello sample. I mean, that's cool enough to be a preset on its own. All right, so let's go to envelope 2 now because the sound for oscillator A is a little bit longer. Like the trumpet had a little bit more sustain than our pizzicato. So I'm going to take the sustain down and I'm going to use this to control the level of this oscillator a little bit. All right, so we have a pretty crazy sound. Now let's add a little bit of unison, some unison voices and detune. To our second oscillator. Let's pop on some some EQ here. And now we have this kind of a cello, this crazy cello brass sound. And if we bring down the volume and the FM a little bit from the FM down from oscillator B and the volume of oscillator A down a little bit more. We have this really cool distorted type of string sound. So making presets inside of CODA and with the wavetables is really easy. You just have to know how to modulate through the wavetables. And I wanted to show you one more thing before we go real quick. So let's initialize the preset. Now that first brass patch or brass wavetable that we loaded up was quite short, right? It was the trumpet dope. Let's load up a longer wavetable. Let's load up trumpeteer. So you'll see that this wavetable has a bunch of information out at frame 256, whereas this wavetable does not. So you're gonna have to modulate through this a little bit differently. You're gonna have to modulate through it more slowly, but you're also going to want to bring in a second LFO/LFO envelope to go backwards on your wavetable. You can do this with loop points, but I think it's easier to do it this way because you have more control over it. So let's take this and we're gonna modulate our wavetable position of oscillator B. And we're gonna want this to be an envelope. We're gonna uncheck BPM. All right, let's just turn on a little bit of delay and a little bit of reverb just so we're not working with the dry sound. Let's, a little dimension expander as well. So you'll notice that when I hold down the key and it hits frame 256, it stops sounding like a trumpet or anything remotely organic, right? Well, that's because it's just stopping on one wave, and you need to have the wavetable constantly moving to have it sound like its instrumental counterpart. In this instance, it's a trumpet. So I'm going to go to a whole different LFO. I'm going to take just the normal triangle shape, turn down the amplitude, or take the amplitude and move it downwards here on the actual LFO shape. And we're going to uncheck this, and we want this to be triggered, so it just keeps going for as long as we have a note triggered. And we're going to modulate in a negative direction now on our wavetable position. So check this out. Right now, when we hit 0, we stop seeing the blue modulation depth line. But if I keep going, I'm going to go into the negative kind of like netherworld region of the modulation. And I like to start at about -30. Now from here, I'm going to turn the delay of this LFO modulator up. So you don't want this LFO happening or turning on until this LFO controlling the initial sound is done. So see how there's some pause, then it starts moving backwards? Well, we want to turn the delay down a little bit. And we don't want to go to 100% here with this first LFO or this LFO2 on our wavetable position. And we want the speed to be fairly similar. So if we're at 1.3 hertz on our first LFO, we should be around there for our one that's moving backwards. So now it sounds like the brass sound for as long as you hold the note down. And that's how you can kind of move backwards in the wavetable to get the sound. When it's a sustained wavetable, you can have it be sustained. There you guys go. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Soundworks. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.